Welcome back to the Creativity Summit. Today I have Felicia Brown on with us today. She is the owner of A to Zen Massage, a wellness spa in Greensboro. She is the founder of Balance Day Spa, which she sold in 2005, and a licensed massage therapist. Felicia is also a business and marketing coach and the author of several books, including Every Touch Marketing, Free and Easy Ways to Promote Yourself and Your Small Business, and Creating Lifetime Clients, How to Wow Your Customers for Life. With appearances at many state, national, and international conferences in the massage, spa, and wellness industry, Felicia has become a sought-after speaker and educator. She is passionate about inspiring others to succeed personally and professionally, including all of you listening. Felicia is a Greensboro native, a casually competitive triathlete. Is that such a thing, a casually competitive triathlete, and an avid reader? During her time off, she is most likely spending time with her dogs, working out, or getting a massage. Her favorite local hangouts include Taste of Thai, Wine Styles, and the Bog Garden, but you can often find her wandering the aisles of the downtown library or Ed McKay's here in Greensboro. Felicia, thank you so much for carving time out to be with us today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. I'm thrilled for the invitation and excited to have another avenue to hopefully inspire people that are listening.
Yeah, and I whether you know it or not, since I follow you on Facebook, you often inspire me with the posts that you share.
Well, thank you. That's kind of my, I don't know, I guess I feel it's it's really a personal mission is to help others succeed. And so I try to follow that in all my endeavors.
Yeah. Can you share with us how you found your way into massage therapy?
Well, as a career, I have to be honest, it was not something that I really thought of when I first started looking at, college back in the day. I had a really wonderful opportunity to attend Greensboro Day School here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And most of my classmates were all college focused, college bound. And as one of the few scholarship students there, I didn't have quite the same financial backing or family structure that made that a guarantee for me. It's interesting. I actually come from a family of college professors, and my grandfather was the dean of several colleges. So you would think that would be a traditional, obvious track for me. But the truth is, after getting out of high school, I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I didn't go to college. I knew that it was going to be on my dime, and I wanted to spend my money and my time wisely. So I worked in the restaurant and hospitality industry. I actually was a figure skater growing up and thought I was going to be teaching figure skating or touring in a show, but that's not what happened either. So long story short, I was introduced to professional massage while I was living in Colorado, and really loved it and started getting massage from time to time as a way to help myself with my own aches and pains. Even in my early 20s, had plenty of aches and pains and chronic issues. So anyway, after having several massages and then going to acupuncture for some, we'll call them female problems, I was led to do something that helped people with their pain. And I started thinking back about massage therapy. It was something I had a chance to take as an elective, believe it or not, when I was at Greensboro Day, although it wasn't called massage therapy, it was called relaxation therapy. And we learned to do if I recall, hand, foot, and face massage. And so anyway, I remembered that I liked massage. I didn't want to do acupuncture, but I wanted to do something to help people with their pain. And so massage school just kind of called out to me. And so I went, and here we are 25 plus years later.
Wow, that story just gives me chills, because it's so interesting how something that you enjoyed in high school inspired a lifelong career, whether you knew it at the time or not.
Well, I'll tell you something kind of exciting. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to participate with with the Greensboro Day School. I guess it was the upper school, on a special education semester that they have, and I got to work with this group of students with my business, and helping them to learn how to, I guess they were doing market research. Anyway, I got to go back into the same building where I had that first class in massage all these years ago, and talk to these students about how to potentially grow my business, or listen to their suggestions about how to grow my massage therapy business. And it was just a mind-blowing experience to feel like I had completed this circle of, my origin, and coming back there and maybe inspiring some of those students to pursue massage therapy. So it was really exciting. I mean, it was truly one of the most special moments of my life.
That is such a cool story. Thank you for sharing that with us. And you've done so many creative things. I mean, I personally think even like running and triathlons have their own pieces of creativity to them. But starting multiple businesses, and I mean, the big ones that I can think of, and writing 2 books, I mean, those are certainly extraordinarily creative outputs of energy into the world. I'm wondering, what does creativity mean to you? What does it look like for you?
Well, a lot of times it looks like insomnia. Yeah, I struggle with sleep sometimes, and if I'm, really candid, which I really am most of the time, throughout my life, I've really struggled with depression and anxiety. I think those 3 things probably go hand in hand, and have definitely played a part in my creativity. There's actually, in addition to the 2 books listed in my bio, that particular bio, I've actually written 7 books, so a total of 7. And quite often my writing has been something that, where it's been a tool for coping and for dealing with, like, okay, I can't sleep, what's on my mind, let me get it out of there. Or I'm depressed, I can't think about anything else, let me write what's on my mind and get it out of there. Or I'm anxious, what's bothering me, let me write it down and get it out of there. Writing, not as necessarily as a creative endeavor, but as a way to just drain my brain of all the stuff that's stuck in there, turns into a creative endeavor. So for me, that writing is probably the biggest thing that I fall back on as far as something that inspires me. Although, you mentioned like the triathlon and all of that, and that is kind of creative. For me, it's really, it seems weird because there's so much activity, but that's really meditation for me. So I think growing up as a skater, which is such a solitary sport, I very early on learned that moving meditation, I could calm myself. And I was always being creative on the ice, creative movement, right? Yes. So I think that you probably hit on something there, is that for me, that movement, whether it's running, swimming, or biking, really allows me to kind of calm myself. Mm-hmm. And when I can drain all that stuff out of my head, then there's space for creativity, whether that's, writing a book, or solving a problem, or coming up with a solution to some issue at work. It really is, it starts out about having that blank canvas, if you will, of the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that I do my best thinking about work or when I'm moving my body. Like I come up with the best solutions if I'm out for a run or out for a walk or riding my bike. And in some cases, specifically not thinking about the thing that I think I need to be thinking about.
Right. Well, it's funny because people have asked me, like, do you think a lot when you run? And I'm like, I can't think when I run. All I can think is I can keep going 1 more minute, 1 more mile, whatever it is, make it to the next tree. I really am not consciously thinking about anything. I might be saying like, let it go, or something, but I have absolutely no attachment to whatever that problem is in that time, because I'm just trying to stay upright.
Yeah. I'm like, can I make it to the end of this mile? Okay, that hurts. Maybe I can just make it 1 more step, and then 1 more step, and 1 more step.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because I think there's some people that think creativity is fun, and that it's like, oh, I get to go and play or whatever. And maybe for some people it is, but for me, it's more of sometimes it's hard. Sometimes that creativity doesn't just show up, and sometimes it shows up in such a way that you're like, oh my gosh, I have to stop everything I'm doing right now and do this.
Yes.
In fact, one of my books, two of my books were written that way, where there was almost like a download that came into my mind, and I was suddenly like, oh my God, I have to write this down. And it was like the whole book came to me. They're not business books, by the way. They're more like fairy tales. But sometimes it is like that, where you cannot focus on anything else. You have to do that in the moment. But I can't say that as far as building my business and whatever, that most of it is what I would consider, quote, fun. I might enjoy it, but it still can be really challenging at times.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Do you have when you are feeling stuck, creatively speaking, and I'm using that in a really broad way, especially for us creativepreneurs, I would say, but if you're feeling stuck in some way, what are the tools or the rituals or the resources that you use to help catapult you into where you want to be?
Well, there's different ways to approach it. So if I'm just feeling stuck, oh my gosh, I can't come up with anything, sometimes I'll just move. So like what we were talking about, exercise, that's a big part of my life. And in fact, as I'm saying that, I'm feeling really guilty because the last week I have not exercised. Maybe I went for a walk last night, but I've been really under pressure for a consulting project that I have going on, and I just have had to make it my priority. So but generally, if I just go exercise and get something moving, then the thoughts or the ideas will start to come. That really is a huge thing. But from a more practical perspective, or for people who maybe aren't exercisers, what I use over and over and over again as a philosophy and a tool is really a mantra. And the mantra is do one thing. Do one thing. And I didn't realize that I did this until I was in some type of a seminar like this, and we were talking about strategies for growing your business. And I realized that do one thing is a theme throughout my career. And I would also say it's a theme throughout me being sort of one of those overachievers, overdoers. So you gotta be careful, because that do one thing could be do one more thing and one more and one more. And that's why I'm always late and, overstressed, if I'm quite candid. But that do one thing. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, one of my consulting clients called me and she said, Felicia, I have this project I want to do so badly, but every time I sit down at the computer, I just freeze up and I don't know what to do. And so it's too hard to explain what the project was, but let's just call it building a web-based business, okay? And so there are a lot of components to this web-based business. And, so from building the website to getting the graphics and putting the structure in place and then letting people know about it and all these things. And every time she sat down to do it, she just it was torture. And so I said, well, could you do one piece of it maybe? So maybe the one thing that you do today is just make a list of the people that you want to announce it to once it's done. And, she kind of hemmed and hawed oh, well, what's the point of that? It won't be done. I don't have anything to show them. When. I said, well, just try it. Let's just see what happens. So she started making a list of those people. And as she started doing that, the wheels started turning. And then she called me and she's like, oh my gosh, you won't believe it. I made the list and then I had all these ideas and I made all this progress. So, she was kind of talking herself out of it because she was so focused on what she thought she needed to do first. And my approach is just do something. I mean, it doesn't always matter what it is, but just doing one thing that will help move you closer towards the end result you're hoping for is a way to approach it.
That is excellent advice. And thank you so much for sharing that with all of us. I mean, I think that is something that we can all immediately apply to what we're doing. I love that concept. As I've been getting ready for this summit, there's a lot of pieces, and I've been using. I don't think I realized that, but now I'm going to think about that and think of you when I'm like, okay, just this one thing, just this one interview, just this one email, just this one template. Just do that one thing, and I heard your warning at the beginning of that, which is be careful that it doesn't turn into and one more and one more.
Right.
That's great advice. Thank you. I'm wondering how you feel like creativity helps you connect to your inner wise woman.
Oh, that's a great question. And I don't know exactly how to answer that, but if we go back to the process that I've been talking about, which is getting quiet and moving in order to sort of drain all the stuff out of the brain. I'll say, the anti-wise woman that lives in my body is, she's got 25 things going on in her head at the same time. It's like rats running on a treadmill, playing volleyball or something all at the same time in my head. And so that, anti-wise woman is overstressed. She's over focused on too many different things, overwhelmed by the enormity of whatever is going on. And so the creativity process that I use, that getting quiet, moving, and just kind of clearing space, if you will, and that could be quite literal. It could be, clearing off your desk or cleaning out a drawer or something, but whatever you need to do to clear space, that allows room for my wise woman to show up. She needs that space to kind of come in and take over. And I just have to push everything else to the side. So that creative process really allows what I would consider my inner wisdom, my higher self, call it a higher power, whatever works for you. But making that space is what allows room for her to come in and say, gosh, Felicia, first of all, what's the deal with the treadmills in your head? The mice running on them, why are you doing this to yourself? And she when she gets a little bit of space, she can step in and tell me, okay, here's what you really need to do. Why don't you go have a sandwich? You need to eat some food before you try to tackle this problem. Or get some rest, or go outside and go smell some flowers, go hug a dog, whatever it is. But I have to make the space for her to be even able to communicate with me. And once I can do that, then, there's plenty of other advice and wisdom that she can give me, whether it's a creative solution to the problem I've been battling, or just the comforting reassurance that I don't have to be the one to fix this. I think that's, as I've gotten older, that's been the thing that I've really come to realize the most, is that, we women, creative types, caregivers, we tend to think it's all on us. Mm-hmm. And we forget that creativity could be like reaching out to someone else and letting them take over, letting them be the creative one, instead of feeling like it always has to come back on our shoulders.
Absolutely. And I mean, even the way you answered that question is so creative. You're the first person that's flipped that and thought about, well, what's keeping me? Who is the anti-wise woman? What's keeping me from my inner wisdom? And I just think that that's such a beautiful way to make that question come full circle. So thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate you being a part of this summit and sharing all of your wisdom with us today. I think you have a gift for everyone that relates to what we've been talking about.
Well, I do. And before I tell you everyone about that, I just want to go back to what you just said, because I think this is really vital. Yeah. I'm my own worst critic. And, that's a saying we've heard time and time again. Oh, we're our own worst critic. But do we really actually realize it? That wise woman that I talk about, for me, like, she's there all the time, but it's like I push her into the corner with all my crap. It's like I have so much stuff that that she doesn't have any space to come out. And so, it's important to really get that, she's there all the time, but I'm the one that is really making it hard for her to nurture and love and care for me. So, I say that because, I'm so guilty of it. And why do I have this, why do I know about this anti-wise woman? Because she lives with me all the time. And I constantly, convince her she needs to move over and make room for the one who does know what to do. And it's a hard thing. And I think it's important for everybody listening to acknowledge that about yourself, and also forgive yourself for that. Don't be hard on yourself. I know that's my tendency. And so, I've been learning this, sort of how to care for myself over and over and over again. In fact, it's so funny. I've been laughing a lot about it. This Saturday, I'm teaching a class on overcoming or preventing burnout. I've been so tired trying to do everything on my plate so that I can go and teach this class. And I'm like, man, the universe is a pretty ironic place. So, I just want people to know, don't ever look at somebody like me that quote unquote has it all together, or has all the success and think we haven't struggled just as much as you. It's a daily battle. And I actually want to change that phrasing. It's a daily adventure and learning opportunity. It is not a battle, but you got to embrace it. So to that end, the free gift that I want to share with everyone is it is an ebook, and it is on doing one thing. So it's a collection of advice and strategies about the way to do one thing, or how, I guess, the different ways I might apply it. So it's a little bit more in depth than just doing one thing. And the example that I gave earlier about, well, just make a list of something related to the project. That's one strategy, but there's quite a few others in there of how to utilize doing one thing to move yourself towards your goal. So I look forward to seeing lots of downloads, lots of people signing up for that, and certainly welcome any questions along the way. If I can be of help, I'm glad to.
Felicia, thank you so much for sharing that with everyone. I know that that's going to be a really valuable tool for people. So we will put the link under your interview, and thank you again so much for being a part of the summit.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Alicia. Thank you so much for asking me, inviting me, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. I hope it's been a great experience for you, and I look forward to seeing you again at another one.